All right, ladies and gentlemen, mostly gentlemen, welcome to This Week in Base Hit, where I'm your host, Zubaz, joined as always by my co-host, either there or over there. This is Clone. Clone, how was your week?
You got that right this time. It was pretty good. How you doing, man?
I'm
I
I'm good.
like you've got that picture up. You've already got me. I think I know what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, that is Dominican pitcher Octavio Dodell. I always have to uh, stop myself because I always say Octavio Dodell because we had a guy in TCL back in the day named Xavier Dowdell. And for some reason, that always sticks in my head. But yeah, I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
want to just acknowledge this because it is uh, almost certainly one of the biggest tragedies in baseball. Um, Maybe ever, certainly in our generation. The only other two I can think of is like there was that minor league bus crash in the 1940s, the Spokane Indians, where a bunch of players died. I think like nine guys maybe died. And then the only other one like I could think of that had multiple fatalities were those two pitchers that died in that boating accident in spring training back in '93. Also Indians, oddly enough, Cleveland Indians.
That's crazy. I
Bruce
mean,
and
I
Olin.
don't know if people know the story
So
about
yeah,
the.
so let me just tell the story real quick. So um, in the Dominican Republic, there was a roof collapse of a club, and right now, 125 people have died. I think there's still nine more unaccounted for. So it crazy situation. The entire roof collapsed simultaneously, and the cause of that is still under investigation. But the club was packed and people are I've seen some people like on X and other places wondering why did this affect so many baseball players and their families, and in reality in the Dominican, like, people look at baseball as the way out, so a lot of the wealthier people in the Dominican are baseball or baseball related. And in this
Mhm.
instance, that night there was a probably the most, well, I don't know if he's the most famous Dominican musician, but he's up there. A merengue singer named Ruby Perez was performing, and so like a lot of it was a high end affair at this club. And just to run through real quick, a couple of the people that have passed away, most famous of which from a baseball aspect is Octavio Dotel, who I'm going to come back to because there's a lot of interesting things about that guy. I just want to acknowledge him real quick at the end. But probably the craziest story is Tony Blanco, who played, I believe, for the Nationals. Actually saved another player's life during the crash. Tony Blanco pushed Esteban. I think he pronounces it Yermin, but it's spelled German. Pushed him out of the way of the crash, and Esteban survived the crash. Tony Blanco died. Um, so he was another baseball player. And then Nelson Cruz, who I'm sure we all know, his sister died. Nelson Cruz is fine, but his sister passed away. And then Pedro Martinez says there's a couple of his family members that are still
Yeah.
unaccounted for. And I haven't seen an update on that either. So, I mean, a lot of baseball related people. There was also several people from some of the club teams in the Dominican that passed away
Uh,
there. So it was a huge tragedy baseball wise.
yeah, the story keeps coming out, and I've been hearing stuff about Dotel this week. I didn't realize quite how beloved he is
Impactful he is.
around the game.
Yeah,
A
and
lot of
in the
baseball guys seem to
Dominican,
really like.
like
Oh yeah,
he's a hero there. Can I just give you a couple fun facts about
yeah.
Octavio Dotel? So I'm wearing my Astros hat because I remember him as an Astro, but whoever you're a fan for, Octavio Dotel probably played for him. There's only one other player in history that played for as many teams as Octavio Dodell played for. He played for 13 different teams across 15 seasons. Most notably, the Mets, who he got drafted with, the Astros, where he played the most number of years, and as M. Hardy and everybody in the club's card house knows he was part of that 2011 World Series team. So he got to get his ring and be on the float for that 2011 team. But the crazy thing about Dotel, beyond all having that record for most number of teams for a pitcher in MLB history, he has another one that will make you say, "Wait, should this guy be in the Hall of Fame?" Um, there is no pitcher in baseball history that has pitched more than 900 innings that has more strikeouts per nine than Octavio Dotel. He has 10.8 Ks. He averaged that over a 15-year career. It's crazy. And he pitched almost 1,000 innings. So, like, he was mostly not a closer. People remember him as a closer for the Astros during his All-Star season, but for the most part, he was just like guy that created holds. Like he was always a setup guy, and he was very good for a very long time. Couple other interesting things about Octavio Dotel is right after he was signed by the Mets, his father was murdered in the Dominican, um, like that same week. And then, uh, as much as he's beloved, he also is a little shady. In 2019, my man got arrested for a huge conspiracy for drug trafficking, money laundering, and he was
That out.
still under charges and about to go to court
Uh,
for felony weapons violations. Um, uh,
I might have to edit that part out so that we can have a more positive
hey,
thing.
hey, he's Octavio Dodell. He can do
I
whatever he wants. He's the best.
The one very short
But
story I heard. Oh, you go ahead. You go ahead.
no, he honestly was like a truly beloved baseball player. He was immensely consistent, and we'll probably never see a guy like that again, who can pitch in mostly injury free over 15 years, throwing hot gas, like 11 strikeouts per nine over 15 years. I just don't think you're going to find a guy like that in MLB anytime soon. So, RIP to all the people involved, including that Ruby Perez. Like
Yeah.
he died too. His whole band died. It's really crazy.
Um,
So there you go.
you're gonna have that much info, but yeah.
That's the news. Hey, they don't call me the greatest
Yeah.
journalist in baseball for nothing.
All right, we've been on a lot of MLB topics lately for base hit, and I got another one for us that I
Yep.
wanted to. So we have, and this is we're gonna crowdsource. This was CBT's idea.
Yep.
So you might remember or not in our help pages for all these years, and I don't know if they've changed. Uh,
Not
when
since like 2003.
when we explain the ratings to people, batting average, everything else, we have players that are the reference points for those, and those references are all old and dusty. And
Just like
I,
us. I think it works.
yeah, and I know that there's some gray hairs out there just like me. But I also was thinking that it would be nice to update those reference players a little bit.
Have some this generation people in
Somebody
there.
that maybe is under 40 would know what we're talking about. So if you ever want to look at this, and I can link it off of it, but you can look in the help pages under the ratings. Oh, I had it.
Who are some of
Uh,
the names in there?
well, let's look. So our contact players, we got Tony Gwynn, Robin Yount, Joe
Yeah,
DiMaggio.
that one's staying.
I mean, I understand these are names of people. Wade Boggs is in here. Um, the one that sticks out to me is Terry Mulholland,
Is
which
that for hold runner?
for hold runner.
Yeah, he's famous for that though.
Yeah,
Yep.
Charlie Huff, Phil Necro.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm
Steve
not saying
Carlton had the most pickoffs of all time, but he's even older.
really.
Yeah, I think he holds the MLB record for most pickoffs. Yeah. I mean, he was a
So
lefty, he had a great move to first.
so I would love to just I want to update it just to we don't need to get rid of any of these guys are valid, but to get one player from the last either active or from the last 20 years
Yeah.
as our representative for each of the ratings, each of the batting ratings and each of the pitching ratings.
Yep.
And so we'll take suggestions from people. I looked into it. So, I mean, there's also like, I don't know, to me, like there's big names don't have on there that I feel like. So that was when I was looking at it. Like I feel like, we got to get Trout on there. We got to get Otani on there. We
We
Cabrera on there.
we should not have
Uh,
Otani on there anywhere.
we should
I'm
have
being
Otani
serious. I'm
on
being
every
serious.
single one of them.
No,
Every single one of
well,
them.
that's the problem with him. Like he's not a good example of any one of those things in
Yeah.
isolation. He's
Maybe I'll
not.
just put him in asterisk
Yeah,
for
he's
speed and for yeah. Okay.
speed.
Uh, I'll take him off. But no. Judge, Harper, who else? Who else are the people that? Well, anyway,
Well, so
when
but you're making a point there is it's not the best players, it's people that like in isolation of that thing could be identified. That's why Tony Gwynn's such a great one for contact. Everybody knows that he had the fewest strikeouts with the most at bats like ratio in all of history. So like who can you compare him to, and I said when you asked me this yesterday, I was like, that's Luis Rise. Like he's the closest thing that we have to that in this generation. But
yeah.
specific to that like thing.
Yeah, well, and I was also, yes, we're looking for people that are maybe iconic for the stat or I don't know.
Um,
Whatever you guys think. I'll take the suggestions. You want to talk about some of your suggestions?
if I may,
They were
I
all
would love to.
Brewers. They were all Brewers,
No,
right?
there was only one brewer on there. Um, uh, but what do you want to start with? My hitters or my pitchers?
Whichever ones you feel the best about.
Oh, I feel best about all of them. They're undefeated. That's why I don't think this is even a useful conversation because I don't think any of you watching can have a better suggestion than what I'm about to blurt out. If you do, put it in the comments. Let's fight about it. All right. So let's see. So discipline, like I I want to make the argument that Joey Votto is the best discipline at the plate over the last 20 years. I want to see somebody fight me on that. I think he probably had the most walks in the 2010s of anyone.
All
So
right.
that's my argument there. I said Luis Ariz for the contact already. With BA, this is one I think people might fight me on a little bit, but I think it's Miguel Cabrera. You mentioned his name before. I think he kind of falls into that Otani category where he was a Triple Crown winner. So it's hard to say like people will think of him as a BA guy. But if you really look at where his success came from, it really was spraying the ball around the field. He just had more power than most.
And some
Uh,
of this is relative to the generation, right? But
yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
definitely for the generation.
Then for slugging, I put Aaron Judge. I know we gave him a lot of heat last week, but I mean, he is the best pure slugger of our generation, in my opinion. Even with his juice balls, juice bats. Look at the last podcast if you want to know. Um, speed's an interesting one because there you could say like a guy like Billy Hamilton that speed was his only thing, right? Like, and I think people identify if they remember Billy Hamilton. I said Ellie De La Cruz just because I think his speed is very unique to him, but also I
Yeah,
think
I might not have to change that entry for a bit if he plays like he seems like he's gonna play.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So there, and oh, and then range. I wanted to put this out because we actually have a guy named after him. Andrelton Simmons is undisputed when it comes to range, in my opinion. And I would hopefully Andrelton Simmons can make the case for this as well. But I think he is the perfect example of range in MLB. He was the best. The best guy playing right now is Bryce Terang, Platinum Glove winner playing for the Brewers, but I don't think he's a big enough name yet. But
You gotta put the time in. You
yep,
get one Brewer. We'll give you one
yeah, I'll take it. And then
one Brewer.
I just added
You don't
glove
have Yelich
because
in there? You don't have
I don't
Yelich in
have
there?
no. I mean, Yelich it would have been a good one for BA for sure. Um, but I added glove. So like perfect glove guy is Dansby Swanson or Francisco Lindor. I think those are two good glove guys. Um, and then Ian on the batting side, my man, no longer a Brewer, but Willie Adames, 160 up, 160 down. He's always there. playing shortstop. So um,
People might have, as you're saying this, people might have some strong opinions. We'll see.
I hope so. I hope
I
so.
hope, yeah, I hope so.
Like, okay, so here's where I think people might have some opinions is on the pitching big four. Um, Power, I think like there's Aroldis Chapman is inextricably tied to power. He's the first guy to throw 106 officially, outside of the Nolan Ryan phantom ball that supposedly went 108. Um, but
Not
Aroldis
Sale.
Chapman is the power guy. The best
I
finesse
thought about
pit,
Sale for that one.
Chris Sale?
Yeah. Isn't he one of the leaders in
Yeah, but yeah,
Ks per 9 innings?
yeah, but I mean, Chris Sale, like you could put him in control. You could put him in finesse, even.
Yeah, and that's
Like
the
he's a
problem.
90s across the board guy, where Aroldis Chapman is a 99 power pitcher.
Got it. Got it.
So I'm still trying to go with your original thing of like
Yep. Yep.
how do you get tied to one thing?
Yep.
Um, and so the best finesse pitcher in the last 25 years, and I would argue is tied to being a finesse pitcher, is Zach Greinke. Like Zach Greinke was not a power pitcher. He wasn't even a control pitcher. He just like, I mean, he just befuddled guys with how his finesse and his pitch selection. Um, Control, you're gonna call me out on this because kind of the same argument that I just said for Chris Sale. The best control pitcher I could think of was Garrett Cole, but he's good at everything as well. Um, so I'd be really curious to hear from the crowd out there who they think the best control pitcher of the last 25 years is. Um, I struggle. I think Garrett Cole is right up there, but
Cole needs, just like Judge, Garrett Cole needs some love now too, because I can still see his face as that game was get. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, uh, and there you go for
that's
there you
good.
go for specialty.
Specialty. So, we've talked about this on the podcast. I've always said Mariano Rivera because how I've always described specialty is like you have some magic in something that everybody else has the ability to do. Everybody could throw a two-seam fastball, but Mariano Rivera did it different. And he only threw two-seam fastballs and he made a Hall of Fame career out of it and might be the best closer of all time. Well, I'm going to make the same argument over the last 5 years. We've Another one of those guys has emerged, and that's Devin Williams. Devin Williams, former Brewer, now a Yankee closer as well. Um, he redefined what a changeup could be, so much so that there's a nickname for the pitch itself called the airbender. He puts more movement on a changeup than any pitcher has in history, potentially, at least that has played at a high level in Major League Baseball. Get 8 inches of movement on a changeup is wild, especially when it's like side to side, the ball dances. So my pick for specialty, Devin Williams.
That's interesting. We have knuckleballers that are in there right now. The way that
Knuckle, yeah,
the way we've talked about specialty recently, yeah, I don't think about knuckleballers as much, but those are the examples that we have in the
Charlie Huff, I think, is the one that
yeah,
we had
yeah.
in the help page.
But you're not thinking those terms, yeah,
Well, no,
yeah.
but I'm yeah, because like knuckleballers, when you look at the four pitches it lists, a lot of times all specialty guys are always listed as knuckleballers. But also when you look at like in our game, you'll see guys that have high control, high specialty, and that's what I think of when I think of Devin Williams. Like he's added like a control level and done something magic with it, with his, and same thing with Mariano Rivera. So I think when you add in other attributes, it gets into that Devin Williams, Mariano Rivera. And I would also say, even though like you would tie Greg Maddux to a control pitcher, or maybe like a control finesse pitcher. He had specialty too because like his pitches were magic as well. So, but if
Good
he
list.
was if he was a base hit guy, he would have been like a 63, 90, 95, 99. Like he would have been that type of guy.
Um,
I'm making those numbers up, but
I'm
you see where
not,
I'm
yeah,
getting
I'm
to.
not the one to argue with you on that, but
Yeah.
that's a good list, and I want,
Thanks.
yeah. So I want,
Oh, I got one last one.
okay,
I have a hold runner because we talked about like Terry Mulholland, and we needed an updated one. And so I didn't know that one offhand. So I actually did some research. And the data says that Johnny Cueto has the best hold runner in the last 25 years. Johnny
Really?
Cueto, Reds pitcher, well, he's played multiple places, but and he was a right-hander. I thought it'd be a left-hander. Uh, Johnny Cueto has
Is he going to
the
mean more to people than Terry Mulholland?
well, yeah, I mean, even more than Terry Mulholland, he had the least amount of steal attempts against him, and he had the lowest amount of runs based on steals and advanced bases, according to StatCast, of anybody over the last 25 years. And you
Nice.
know who has,
Did some good research on this, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know who's the best in the last 2 years? Shota Imanaga from the Cubs. So we'll see if he can keep it up. But Johnny Cueto is my pick.
You just said something nice about a Cub.
I know. And Terrence Kubel is good too. But Johnny Cueto is the man, which is a name I would have never guessed.
All right, so
Never.
let me summarize here.
Yep. Go ahead.
So this is for, again, I'll give the link. We give people come into the game, they're trying to figure out how the ratings work. We have a tutorial they see, we have stuff in the help pages for examples. We want you guys to give us suggestions for some more modern examples of players that are indicative of the ratings. You can kind of define that how you want. Personally, like, yeah, there's kind of a generation of guys that have retired that we don't have in there, and then we've got the active guys. So send me your guys. I want
So is your idea that we'll have in the
names
help
that are going to
pages?
mean something to people. I want names that are going to mean something to people coming in. I want people that have played for a bit so that
But
they're
are you going to keep some of the
not.
old guys in there too? Because the old guys mean
Yeah,
something to a lot of us
I don't.
too.
Unless somebody wants to make an argument to get rid of any of them,
Okay.
I
Because
mean,
Tony Gwynn had to stay in.
I do feel like we are redefining specialty from how it used to be. Maybe we don't need two knuckleballers in there. But
I think it got oversimplified back in the day because you look at like and I'm sorry to jump in on you, but I think specialty is like when you see a 99 power, 99 psi guy, that's not a knuckleballer, but he can be one of the best pitchers in the league, right?
yeah,
And so like that guy is just, throwing magic fastballs like Kerry Wood. That's Kerry Wood would be that guy,
there you go.
right? Yeah.
And I also, yeah, I don't know about leaving Otani off. Freddie Freeman didn't get his name up there. There are a bunch of guys that are good at everything. I mean, that's what
Yep.
even going back to the old list, Ricky Henderson is listed for. He's
Speed.
not listed for speed. He's listed for DI. Um,
Oh.
uh, Kind of sticks out to me, but anyway, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, that is a weird one. Yeah. And so like, yeah, I just think like if you can find somebody that's like just definitionally tied to one of those things, that would be the best example because I think it can confuse people, especially with like contact and BA. Like those are two different things. Like, do you strike out versus balls in play versus like pure batting average? Those are two different things.
Yep, absolutely. Uh, so comment in the video, comment on Discord, send us emails. I'll have
Don't
links
send me
underneath
email.
this, but you can send me email. But just send in your ideas because I'm gonna be updating this anyway, and we just thought we'd have some fun with it.
Yeah, and I'm interested in if anybody has another idea than Andrelton Simmons for range. I think that's an interesting one. I don't know who else it could be, but there's a lot of good players out there. And pick somebody that's not a shortstop. I picked all shortstops for glove and range. Like there's a lot of talented people outside of shortstop. Um, but I don't know.
All right.
It's a fun topic. I'm interested in hearing what people say. My picks will be undefeated, but you guys can fight it out for second place. There you go.
Gonna act like it's a democracy, and then it's just gonna be.
It's just going to be all Otani. Otani's going to hit for everyone. He's best pitcher, best hitter, best runner,
All
best
right, we
best
did it.
EN. Wait, you don't have any picks before I let you go? Like, you don't have one that sticks out to you?
I had, I mean, I'm seriously, of, I was struggling with the fact that Trout, Otani, Cabrera weren't on there. And then I looked at them all and I was like, oh,
Where do you put them?
they could be on there for this, they could be on
Yeah,
there for that. It could be,
yeah. Like
I think,
Trout's a perfect example because you could make him the best center fielder in the last 25 years defensively, but then wouldn't he look weird as like your pick for defensive
yeah,
glove?
I mean, in
Right?
terms of active leaders and batting average, he's up there and slugging and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
He's Trout. So it's not
yeah.
about the best player, it's about the best example for that attribute.
You define it how you want to define it.
I'm
And that's
trying to set the
all
guardrails because otherwise we're going to get a bunch of nonsense
right, all right.
like you're talking, oh, talking all your nonsense. All right. So that's it. So help be an active participant, help the help pages. Why not? And I think that's it. Clone, any final thoughts?
No, you
All
did a good
right.
job.
That's good. Thanks. Thanks for your help. Continue the conversation online, in the forums, on Discord, email, hit Clone's beeper, whatever works for you. Till next week, we are out.